What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Game Time Podcast. We are back this Sunday with another slate of episodes. I've got the Reggie Wayne Colts jersey on because we are talking NFL today. We are finally moving on from the flop fest of the NBA. We are now going to the roughing the passer sport. We're going into the NFL. It's going to be a fun NFL season, and then obviously we'll have a college football preview at some point. And at that point, I'm going to let Ramon host the show at that rate. But we've got Ramon today, we've got Daryl today, and of course, we've got myself, Isaiah Hoffman. Folks, I want to give an update on our Spotify stuff. We started on Spotify. I had some uploading issues with Spotify, but we have gotten that figured out. So we are going to upload all of our interviews onto Spotify. The Matt Taylor one, the Mark Boyle, they will all go up this week. By the time you see this video will be out before those are out. So yeah, so all those interviews will now be on Spotify as well. So once again, we are available on Spotify. We've always been available on YouTube Music, and so you can listen to it in podcast format. But we're gonna get into it today, fellas. NFL talk is on the docket today. We're just kind of gonna spitball this segment. I've got some headlines I want to talk about. I think there's a lot of teams this season that have a lot of question marks, right? When we were making our when I was making my power rankings list last night, fellas, right? Here was my thought. I think 1 through 7 are clear-cut contenders, but then, I go from 8 all the way down to, I want to say 16. It's a bunch of question marks, I feel like. The Cowboys are a question mark. I think the Chargers are a question mark. The Texans are a question mark. I think the Broncos are an optimistic team, right? They showed out last year, but now it's like, okay, it's always different that second year. Everyone says the second year is always the hardest for a rookie quarterback, and Bo Nix played great. And I think a lot of people, I'm starting to see him get a lot of credit for the way his intangibles and everything else. Can the Broncos, compete with the Chiefs in the AFC West? I'd like to believe that they could win the division this year if they play strong. The Bengals are obviously a question mark, and I'm going to be honest, I don't even buy the Packers this year. I think, there's just this slog of teams that I don't have an answer for yet, right? Like, they can make the playoffs, but I don't know how good they can truly be because they have so many holes or question marks. With the Chargers, you have receivers. The Cardinals, it's all going to come down to Kyler Murray and his health. The Chargers, it's going to come down to wideouts. Texans, it's all about health. Broncos, it's about Bo Nix. The Packers are the Packers. We obviously know the Bengals situation. There's just this huge slog of teams that I feel like are in the mid-pack, and you don't really know what they could be. And then I've got teams on the outside looking in, right? The Rams, I think the Rams could be the worst team in that division because, Matthew Stafford is old. I know they have Devontae Adams, but he's getting old. And then you got the 49ers as well. Same thing with the Dolphins. I don't think those teams are in the mid-pack. I think they're just question marks. I don't think they really have a true answer. And the one team I have in all the middle of this is the team that I think could be the standout this year is the Chicago Bears, right? I said it after the draft. I said I think the Bears had the best offseason. I think Ben Johnson was the best possible get for them. But it seems like Caleb Williams isn't doing so well in training camp under this Ben Johnson system. So I'm really curious to see how the Bears will do. I think the Bears could be very good this year. I think they can be better than Green Bay. I don't think they'll be better than Detroit. I think Detroit's going to be one of the best teams in the NFL, bar none. So I'm curious to see how this season goes. I'm going to go ahead and give the floor to you guys. I just wanted to get those thoughts out real quick because when I was making my rankings last night, the top 8 was pretty easy for me, but then the top 8 was pretty easy, but then when I got down to all these other teams, I'm like, oh my goodness, because all those teams are interchangeable, I feel like.
I'm hearing you, but you know what? I don't like Chicago right now. I don't like Chicago because they're the upheaval they've got going on. The other thing is their division. You got Detroit, Green Bay, and Minnesota. All 3 teams were much, much better than the Bears last year, and I don't see them falling that far back. You talked about Green Bay, but they've got a quarterback. They got a legitimate quarterback, legitimate running game, and probably one of the best minds as a head coach in Matt LaFleur. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Green Bay jump Minnesota because they've got, their new quarterback, their rookie quarterback, well, not rookie, second-year quarterback coming off of an ACL. And then you've got Detroit. I still think Detroit is still the class of that division. And I believe that there's no reason why losing Johnson, Coach Johnson, is going to put them in a situation where they'll be, dropped to second or third in that division. In my personal opinion.
No, and I mean, I think right now, like, I think the Bears could be good. I don't have them above. I only have them above Minnesota in the division. That's it as of right now. I think they could be better than them, but I right now, yeah, I think there's too many question marks for them. So it's like it's hard for me to put them above certain teams because if it were, I would love to put them above certain teams, right? I think they could be better than Dallas. I think they could be better than Tampa. I think they could be better than a lot of teams, but I think it's just a big question mark. How is Caleb Williams going to play? How is this team going to look? I think there's too many questions with Chicago where it's like, okay, I'll put them above some of these teams, but I'm not going to put them above teams that are usually fairly consistent year in, year out. Ramon, this is the day you've been waiting for. We have been talking basketball, basketball, basketball. I know you're probably a little more ready for college football, but NFL, it doesn't matter. It's football for you. We're getting closer and closer to football season. What are some teams you're maybe got some questions about, or a team that you don't think is going to be that good? I'm really curious to hear your thoughts. And then Daryl, obviously you can chime back in and talk about a team you want to talk about.
I think that conference, that division, Detroit, Chicago, Minnesota, Green Bay is going to be interesting because I don't think none of them are going to be a overall issue or problem in the grand scheme of things because of certain things. I think Detroit is well put together, but I can't see a team that lost both coordinators still hitting on all cylinders. That's impossible for me to see.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I've never been a Bears fan, and I was even less of a Bears fan when they drafted Caleb. I don't think that he can. That the system is too process driven for him to be good. When I look at his tape coming into college, it was all off script plays. It was all sandlot football. Now you get him with an offensive coordinator is going to have, hey, you got to read this, you got to understand this, you got to check down this, you got to get the ball out quick. It's like
Yeah.
I can't see him prospering in that type of situation, and I think they're going to actually take a step back. Uh,
Interesting.
I think Minnesota could be good. I'm not. I think JJ is going to struggle in the beginning. Uh, it's going to take some time to get him acclimated to the NFL. So Green Bay, I think they got a good shot of winning that division.
I I had Minnesota really low last year. Out of the 32 teams, I had them at 30. Like I did not think Minnesota was going to be good. I thought Darnold wasn't going to be good. And then, I mean, maybe it's because Justin Jefferson's the best receiver in the league. Maybe I have no clue. But man, I mean, they completely outperformed them. And honestly, I have the Vikings pretty low this year as well. And I think a lot of that has to do with JJ McCarthy and having to figure some things out.
Yeah.
Daryl, I'll give you the floor here. What are your thoughts going into the season when it comes to certain teams, or I'm curious to see what you got.
The team that I'm really high on, if they can get their players signed, is Cincinnati. Cincinnati's been in the media conversation a lot over the last few weeks. About we just talked about being cheap with regard to their players and that type of thing. But if they can get Trey Hendrickson signed, they've got the offensive capabilities to probably be one of the great offenses of all time with Burrow and those two receivers. They've got a real running game. I just think that Cincinnati is the team that people are knocking, which is fair because of what the ownership is doing regarding contracts. But if they can get that stuff taken care of, they signed their first round pick, their edge rusher. I just believe Cincinnati can be that team that shocks a lot of people. And that division, that AFC North with Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati is going to be a bloodbath. I believe. I just think it's going to be a bloodbath, and I wouldn't be surprised if Cincinnati overtakes Baltimore in that division if all things go right with those guys getting signed, especially with Trey Hendrickson. That's going to be your big key. Coming off of two back-to-back 17-sack seasons, the guy said just recently he doesn't know if he's going to even want to come back. And if that happens, I would drop them below the Steelers. I think Henderson's just that much of an impact regarding the Cincinnati Bengals.
So with the AFC North, I think the Steelers, it's going to come down to Rodgers, and I don't think Rodgers has it in him to get this team to where they need to be. Um, I don't, obviously Cleveland's not going to be a factor either. I think Joe Burrow, and I've said it for the longest, I've always felt that Burrow is the second best quarterback in the league. I think right now heading into this season. I think it's a toss up. I think there's a lot of conversations right now, but I think Mahomes is still one. I think after that, I'd probably put Lamar at two, Burrow at three, Hurts at four, and that's probably a little disrespectful to Hurts. But I've always been a Joe Burrow guy. I mean, I think Burrow, if with the right team around him, I mean, I could put the Bengals in Super Bowl conversations every year because of the quarterback Burrow is, and that's no discredit to Hurts. If somebody told me Hurts is second, I'd be like, okay, that's your belief, that's your thought. But for me right now, it's Mahomes, Jackson, Burrow, and then Hurts, and then Josh Allen fifth right now. I really do like the Bengals. I've always been super high on the Bengals and Joe Burrow, but I do think the Ravens will be better. I just there's no real indicator to me that the Ravens will be worse than the Bengals this year. I think the Bengals will make the playoffs. They just can't start the season as bad as they did last year. If they can just win, three games at the start of the year instead of, they just have to. It's not, it can't get any worse than how they started the year last year for sure.
If I'm talking, you said quarterbacks your top five. Let me think of what my top five
I
would
was just
be.
going into this season. I mean, I've had an all
I was
time.
waiting,
Yeah,
Ramon.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
why I
just
said,
this
let me
season.
pause. Let me pause. Go ahead.
I'm going like you know, the kid in Kansas City, he's still the chief.
yeah.
He's still that dude. Burrows, I can see second. I'm not going to argue that.
No,
My third,
I have Lamar second.
okay, so I would have Burrow second.
Okay,
I would have Allen third. I would have Hurts fourth. And I would have Lamar fifth.
interesting.
I'm tired of the Jalen Hurts disrespect. No, just kidding. That's that campaign.
You know I am.
One of the things we've been talking about, right, in some of our other groups is, well, you can't put Jalen Hurts in the top 10 because he's got a great offensive line. He's got good receivers. He's got a good team around him. Hold on. Here's my argument to that. How do you blame Jalen Hurts for having talent around him? He
Yeah,
still has to go out there and play. And someone has told me, say, hey, he's got, 6 touchdowns with the tush push. They still count as 6, right?
yeah,
It still count as rushing touchdowns, right? And he's a threat because the reason why the tush push works is because he could pull that ball out and get to the outside or hand it off. So that's what Philadelphia is doing is taking advantage of their strengths. So I don't knock Jalen for that. I commend him for being in the right place at the right time. And the last thing about Jalen with regarding Super Bowls, the last time I saw him in the Super Bowl, he outplayed the guy you all have as number one twice, not once, but twice. He went out there and balled out in the biggest stage. Now you think about in the NFL and the Super Bowl, that you don't have another game left, right? This is his last game.
yeah.
And he played with his hair on fire and balled out, and everybody wants to talk about, how he ranks, against this quarterback and this quarterback, even past and present. I tell you what, his story isn't told yet. 5 years in,
Yeah.
I'll take his first 5 years versus anyone except Mahomes. I would take his first 5 years. If you can think about it, I'm talking about collectively, right?
Oh, yeah, that's
Everything
fair.
that's in play. I would take his first 5 years over everybody except for the young man in Kansas City.
That's fair. And Ramon, to go back to you because you had Josh Allen at third. I think for me, I think I'm on Josh Allen fatigue, right? I've had Allen ranked high, really, really high for the last couple of years. I think I've had him second most of the time, but I think you can only lose to Kansas City so many times before I just start slotting you down the line. Now, obviously, Lamar's lost to him too, but I think for Allen's a great quarterback, right? Single-handedly got Buffalo to the playoffs, and then they got Amari Cooper. That helped him a little bit. But I think right now it's just like it's like, I kind of know the story. I know the script. I'm not. It's like Allen's a great player. I mean, if you told me Allen's the second best quarterback in the league, I'd say, you know what, fair. But I think for me in Buffalo, I'm wearing out on Buffalo. I'm seeing the same story over and over with them again. They can't seem to beat this Kansas City team. I'm just like, I can't continue to put him in this spot. Now, granted, the only other quarterback that has beaten him in the playoffs, and by him I mean Mahomes, is Burrow and Hurts. So at this rate, it's hard. I guess Lamar, I'm being a bit hypocritical when I have Lamar at
Very
second.
hypocritical.
Very hypocritical, but
Very.
with the way Lamar played the MVP season, I'm gonna give him his due for sure. But I'm definitely on Josh Allen fatigue for sure.
Lamar Jackson is 3-5 in the playoffs, man. So all that stuff you've been talking, man, out the door. Out the door. And let's be honest, man, because no one wants to say this. The last year that Lamar Jackson won the MVP, his stats was pedestrian. Like those were like, if you close your eyes and don't put Lamar's name and you look at those numbers, you'd be like, that was not the MVP of the league.
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about as a grand total because of the passing yardage? I think you're looking at the whole combination, right? Okay, I got
the
you.
whole combination of everything. You would look at it and be like, that wasn't an MVP year. I mean, there was years that he probably should have got it. His numbers were way better and his performance was great. Like I thought the last year he won it, I think that was like, man, we should have gave it to you some other times. We're gonna give it to you now.
I think there's a subjectivity, right? So last year as they went in, he and Josh Allen were neck and neck. And I don't have the statistics up, but if I remember right, overall, even in PFF, he was ranked higher than Josh Allen, but Josh Allen received the MVP, right? You talk about humans are voting for this. This isn't just a statistical point and say, well, who falls under the highest ranking here? And that's the MVP. There's so much involved with, people thinking, well, he hasn't beat Mahomes, right? He hasn't won the big one. He hasn't done this or he has done this. I think that level of subjectivity comes into play when you're talking about, MVP rate, ratings and player statistical information, in my opinion.
No, somebody else can go. I was trying to find something.
No, you good. Go ahead, Ramon.
Man, Lamar Jackson, how many interceptions has he thrown in the playoffs?
A lot.
Yeah,
but here's the question, right?
Ain't no but.
No. With that said, then here's the question: if you're talking MVP, are we talking regular season, or are you encompassing playoffs? Because if we're encompassing playoffs, why isn't Jalen Hurts MVP?
Oh no, now I'm talking the ranking.
Okay, got you. Okay, I got you.
Like, how do you rank this guy? Like you said, Cott, that when the lights was the brightest, Jalen Hurts was the best. Well, when the lights are the brightest, Lamar Jackson isn't the best. He may be one of the worst.
No, which I would say is one of the worst. Of that top five, he's the worst, right? Right. So with that said, if you look at it collectively, that's why I always I marvel at people standing on business when they say Jalen Hurts is not in their top 10. Wait a minute. This young man came in as a second-round pick, took over the job. Yes, he inherited a good coach, good players around him, but they drafted well too. Yeah. And you still have to make it happen on that stage. We talk about Peyton Manning, about how great he was and all of this. Well, he had that opportunity. He won one with the Colts, won one with the Broncos. And granted, we all know he was at the end of his career with the Broncos. And I think the Broncos, we all admit, kind of carried him to the finish line. So, but you're talking about a guy in his prime who's humble, who's regular, and he doesn't get involved in the back and forth. And I think that has driven some people as well. I think some people don't like the fact that Jalen doesn't engage in that chutzpah, right? He says, I'm out there balling. The example when they had the ring ceremony, what did he do? He didn't even have his ring. He says, well, so why don't you have your ring? Last year's over. I'm ready for next year. And that's not some phonyism. That goes all the way back for his freshman year at Alabama when he had the dreadlocks, right? So this guy has been consistent from day one as an 18-year-old freshman to now as a five-year veteran in the NFL. He's been consistent. And I think there's something to be said about that as well, too.
I said it last year when I did the podcast with Darren, right? And we were doing our rankings. I had the Eagles above the Chiefs then, and I said this team's unbeatable. I mean, you're not beating this team if everything's clicking, right? And I was right? They won the Super Bowl in dominating fashion, and I am still of the same belief that this team could very well go back to back. The NFC is the NBA's Eastern Conference right now. There's not a lot of it's not deep, it's not threatening. I think Detroit. I get what Ramon's saying about the coordinators and everything else. Don't even do it. Don't even do it.
Are you kidding me?
Don't even do it.
I think it's very even, man.
Close.
I think I don't. In your opinion, I mean, Example, Philly won the championship last year.
No, I know that's my point. I think Philly. I think
Detroit's
Philly,
a hell of a team.
I think I agree with Ramon in the sense of Detroit's losing both their coordinators. I think Detroit's the only team that's close to them. Especially like right now I would say it's the Eagles in tier 1, the Lions in tier 2, and then after that, I think everything else, I think there's question marks, right? The Commanders got to the conference title, but we don't know what's the stakes with McLaurin. If you want me to be honest, the team that I think could be the third best team in the NFC or one of the best teams in the NFC is Atlanta. I think Atlanta could be really good this year. I think Penix could ball out. I think Atlanta could be very good as well. I don't see the NFC that strong. It's not as strong as it once was. I don't think the Packers are going to be that much of a threat. We don't need to talk about Dallas. I think Arizona could be.
No, we're going to talk about.
I know Dallas. We're going to talk about.
We're going to talk about Dallas. It's coming, right? Just like we did with the other teams that are national teams. Oh, Dallas is going to get some smoke. Don't worry.
I think Arizona could be pretty good, but it's like they're not contenders. Same thing with
Tampa Bay. I'm don't sleep. Watch them.
I know, no. I'm not. I know what they can be.
This is a precursor for our rankings. We can't. Don't give it all away.
Don't
give it all away because I may throw a monkey wrench at some things. Come ranking time.
I think in the NFC it's not that deep. I think it's the Eagles, the Lions, and then everybody else is just there, and we'll see what happens.
Well, if we're talking that same way, it's be Kansas City and Buffalo in the AFC. Because we just said Baltimore is putrid. Houston, Jacksonville, the Colts. Come on, right? Yeah. Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Jets, Miami, New England. I mean, I think the NFL is as balanced as I've ever seen it. I absolutely 100% disagree with both of you all with regard to that, and I think it's gonna bear out.
I think the AFC is closer just because of the quarterback play. I mean, you've got all these quarterbacks in the AFC. It's like. If Herbert had better receivers, I think the Chargers would be way more of a threat.
If was a fifth, we all be drunk. We can do if all day long.
I'm just saying that I think the AFC is way more deeper in terms of quarterback play and talent compared to the NFC. I think
we keep talking about Herbert and all his talent. What does it result in wins?
No, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying.
Well, I'm saying because I know a lot of people have Herbert even higher than my guy Jalen. What has he done?
No, I agree.
Lamar
overrated.
We've got.
No.
What has he done?
Herbert's not overrated.
We're not talking about feelings. Yes, he's 6'4" and has a cannon for an arm. Great. Wonderful. That doesn't get you the wins.
That's on management.
How?
Coaching, management. I think it's anything but Herbert.
Ramon, they got the great Jim Harbaugh. Tell them how great Jim Harbaugh is, Ramon.
He ain't got his video guy with him. He's stealing stuff, so he ain't gonna be able to do it.
I completely disagree on Herbert. I think Herbert has done what he can with this team. Now, don't get me wrong. When he got to the playoffs and choked that lead against Jacksonville, yes, that was on him. But I think everything else, coaching.
Rub my eyes real quick.
Coaching, management, I don't think that's on Herbert. And we just talked about it, right?
What point is it on him as a quarterback? Isn't he the leader of the team?
I get what you're saying. At what point? When Hurts has all this help, people want to rank him low. I think with Herbert, I don't think he has no help.
Or have him standing on his own, all right? So we talk about that. Here's a great example of a great quarterback who doesn't get the current love, who I believe is one of the top 5 greatest quarterbacks of all time that I've seen, right? His name is Dan Marino.
Oh, yeah.
To one Super Bowl, you talking about around you and all of that stuff like that? That guy should have won probably 5 or 6 Super Bowls. And as a player, just on his own, he had it all. Yeah. He had everything that was available. He could put that ball through the eye of a needle, right? And my point being is he didn't have the love either. But as time has gone, he doesn't get that. He definitely doesn't get the love now because we are all in that current process of what do we see now. So Herbert's got to do something.
No, I agree. I agree. I definitely agree. I don't know where to rank the Chargers at the moment. Like I said, I just think there's this slog of teams in the middle where it's just question mark after question mark. I don't really have an answer for them whatsoever. Ramon, I want to get your thoughts on Denver because I think Denver has a real shot to overtake Kansas City in the division this year. I
Before we
think.
go,
Go ahead.
sorry, go ahead. No,
No,
you go
I
ahead.
just think I think Denver has a real shot, right? I think a lot of people with the Peyton and Wilson era, I think a lot of people are like, oh, I think Sean Payton lost that edge in his coaching or whatever. But I think, and I saw some clips and I've been watching stuff on Denver. Bo Nix reacts very differently to the way Russell Wilson reacted, right? I mean, and I've heard people say, with Sean Payton, you have to go back at him to get things right with Sean Payton. And there's clips of Bo Nix going right at Sean Payton. If there's a disagreement, he's going right at him. Where Wilson didn't really talk, didn't really give a reaction. I think
But that's not his personality, though. That's
yeah,
and Denver dropped the ball on that. They didn't do their homework, what they should have done with regard to him, right? Now, granted, the coach came in the second year of Russell Wilson, not the first year. Mm-hmm. But Russell Wilson's a guy who's going to go out and play ball. Granted, he's on the back end of his career, but Denver should have saw that.
Mm-hmm. I think Denver could win the division, right? I think there's a lot of questions about them. But I think they have the chance to win this division if they can take that next step.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. I'm serious.
You just said Herbert, the greatest quarterback ever in San Diego.
Well, oh my goodness,
got Kansas City.
You're taking that as God. You're taking my word as gospel.
He's Justin Herbert, man.
I'm being realistic. They don't have help. I think Denver could win the division. I still think Kansas City, if they win it, I'm not going to be shocked.
You got that other player's mindset. Everybody needs help. There's a theme here. He needs help.
I've only said that about Herbert.
Let me say a couple of things that y'all going to shock y'all, right? Herbert. Everyone talks about how great he is. He reminds me of how I feel about Andrew Luck. Very talented, not great. Very talented, not great. And I'm tired of people thinking that talent equates great. It doesn't. All right. So Herbert's talented, but I don't think he's in that top tier. As far as what we talked about Denver, I think the biggest thing with Denver and why they're successful is the type of offense they run and the person they drafted. You take my man from Denver, he did a great job. Bo Nix did a great job, right? Because he's in a system that you have to analyze and process quick. You have to analyze and process quick in that Denver system, right? Where did he come from? He came from Oregon, another system that you have to analyze and process quick so it fits. Mm-hmm. You look at the guy in Cleveland right now that they drafted. The biggest thing they talk about is how he quickly analyzes and processes. So you draft people who fit your thought process. Denver's head coach, Peyton.
Did Ramon freeze? I think
freeze.
He froze. Yeah, he froze. Ramon, you froze.
Your face, right?
There he is. He's back. Oh, no.
He'll come back. He'll come back.
Yeah, you're back. There you go. Go
there
ahead.
You go. Yeah.
Yeah, you froze up for a second.
My bad. You got Denver's head coach, Peyton, Sean Payton, and you got Oregon's head coach, Lanning. They're the same people.
Yeah.
Very aggressive, in your face. So it was a seamless transition for this kid.
Yeah, no, I agree. Ramon,
it doesn't hurt the fact that he was in school for 6 years, right? He's seen a lot. He started at Auburn. And here's the thing about Bo Nix. Coach's son, went to Auburn, highly touted freshman, played in the SEC, high-end talent. Didn't work out in Auburn because it's Auburn, and it's not, in that state, it's Alabama, not them. But he goes out west, and he plays ball, man. And he found his comfort zone, right? And then he came into the league kind of almost, seeing it all. You go 6 years in college football, man, that's a lot of football to be had. And there's a lot of good teaching going on there. And I think Bo Nix has surprised a lot of people. If you look at it, if you do this draft probably 3 years, I bet you people are probably saying, man, why didn't Bo Nix go number one? That's what I believe. Because I just think they said, he's an older player that there's no chance he can do this. And I even said he had peaked and his freshman year of college football, he had played so long. Yeah. But he's definitely showing a difference for sure. And the coaching matters.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of his coach, but the guys put him in a good position to be successful.
For sure. In fact, I want to before we've got about 10 minutes left in this segment. I want to know because we've never really discussed this. I've said my favorite team. You guys know who that is, obviously. But who's your favorite team in the NFL? I feel like this was never discussed between us
Ramon,
ever.
I'll go first, Ramon. Listen, man, I've got about 7 teams that I like, right? There's
Okay.
not one team, and honestly, there's not one team I just love, right? I'm here in Indianapolis. I got it, right? But I like Philadelphia. I like what Baltimore does. I like teams that that come out every year. They pay their players, they add some pieces, and they keep on moving, right? I
Mhm.
like what the Washington Redskins are doing. I like them a lot. My dark horse out of the teams, my favorite teams is this year. I would probably say, I hate to say it because you all disagree. I think Baltimore this is their year this year. I just, for some reason, I got a feeling that Baltimore is going to be that team that holds that trophy up. But we're talking about favorite teams. I've got a few of them, man. So I'm
Gotcha.
more lower towards the fantasy football side. So I like a few teams.
Ramon, what about you?
Man, my favorite team is Bang Bang Niners gang.
All right. Well, folks, this is Ramon's last day on the pod. I hate to break it to you all. This is very unfortunate. I'm gonna have to find. We're gonna have to get a new. We're gonna have to find a new. We're gonna have to find a new
I
comedic
love it.
relief, and
Hey, go to your
it's
left, Ramon. Show them what we got. Show them what you're working with. Show them what you're working
Bang
with.
Bang Niners gang,
yeah.
baby.
All right.
I love
Well,
it.
that's a little disappointing, but it's okay. It's all right.
I said we got to go to you. We got to go to you. What's your team and why? Let's talk
So
about this for a minute.
So I mean I've been a Cowboys fan. I was a Colts fan as well when Luck got drafted.
So you're in
What?
Indianapolis. You're not a Pacer fan first, and you're not a Colts fan first.
So I
So
mean no
Pacers
no.
are your jump off because you're here in Indianapolis. But who's that team you're rocking with?
In the NFL it's Dallas. It has been Dallas. And for a little backstory, my dad's side of the family is Cowboys fans. On NFL Sunday, we always went to their house, so it was just kind of like it was just kind of there. So that's kind of why kind of rooted for them. And then the Colts. I mean, I can't lie. I've had a slight rooting for the Colts, but I think it was mainly because of Luck. They were all, and the way Luck played, everything else. I bought into Luck fairly quickly, right? I was like, oh my gosh, like I loved Luck absolutely loved him. I don't know why. So once he left, I kind of faded out from them. But I've always been a Cowboys fan for the most part. I don't know why I made that decision when I was little.
So Ramon, what he just told us is he grew up in a household full of abuse. Watching the Cowboys. So listen, I've met your mom, man. Why she allow you to go through this type of behavior?
She's a Redskins fan, so I don't really know where this all about. Yeah, it's a mumbo jumbo here. And then obviously my stepdad, who he's gonna join us at some point, he's a diehard Colts fan. He diehard Colts fan for sure. Everything we talked about with Matt Taylor, he knew what you were talking about. Like he lives and breathes the Colts every day. But I'm a Dallas fan. I've gone through a lot of torture these last couple of years. Specifically because of the Niners.
Beyond a couple, beyond a couple. So let's don't minimize it here. Your childhood has been horrific. If you watch the Dallas Cowboys,
so my favorite season by far was probably 2014, right?
Was that when Romo dropped the ball?
That's when Dez dropped it. But my favorite game from that season, bar none, is when we went into Seattle. That's probably my favorite game ever, is when we went into Seattle and won by far, because nobody thought we were going to beat Seattle. I didn't think we were going to beat Seattle. Like, this is prime Seattle, and I didn't think we were going to beat Seattle.
Ramon's rating. Go ahead, Ramon.
Go ahead, Ramon. I'm ready.
I'm just thinking that it's like Men's Mental Health Month or something like that.
Oh, right? My goodness.
Because you're going to need it, bro.
Look,
you're going to need
it. I
got a therapist that I can introduce you to.
When we get to the Cowboys in my rankings, I'm going to go over the schedule and give you guys what their record when we get there. I think this year it's going to be a very interesting year, right? I think they could be good. I think they can be better than Washington. They won't be better than Philadelphia.
Austin's consistent. They're consistent. The last five or six years, they've been consistent in that 7 to 9 win season, and give a little precursor. That's where they'll be again this year.
Have they signed their best player yet?
No.
No, they haven't signed
Micah Parsons is still going unsigned.
We're concerned that the Redskins haven't signed their receiver.
No, I agree.
But we're not concerned that Cowboys haven't signed an MVP candidate.
Look.
That's Micah Parsons for everybody to know.
I have no I don't really care. If this team sucks, this team sucks. I've put all that pain away. It's stored somewhere else. It disappeared a long time ago.
In the box.
It's not good, man, to hold that in.
I don't hold it in anymore. You just said like, oh, Mike hasn't gotten paid. I'm just like, well, Mike hasn't gotten paid. Like, there's no like when we talk about
zero emotion, right?
Like, when we talk about like, oh, do you hope Luka gets paid? I'm like, yes, pay Luka. You say that about Mike, I'm like, I have no reaction. Like, it does not bother me what happens at this point right now. Because you know why? Dak's still the quarterback. Nothing's going to change unless there's a new QB under center. So for me, it doesn't change anything. Now I will say,
what about adding Pickens? What about come on, man?
No. I'm getting to that point. I think Pickens and Lamb's a great duo. I think Pickens is going to be good. I think Lamb being next to him will be good. And I'm not saying Pickens has to be this Pro Bowl receiver, and I'm not saying he will be. But the problem last year, not only did we not have a run game, but it's like you just double team Lamb and you shut this team down. You've got that second guy that can create some offense. They just paid Jake Ferguson, by the way. So there's Jerry Jones being Jerry Jones. We're going to pay the tight end, but not Micah. But I think Dallas could be they've got a shot to be good. They've got some young running backs in there. I think having Pickens along with Lamb, now the defense just can't focus on Lamb. You've got to worry about Pickens, who is a good wide receiver. He has his issues. We all know he has his issues. That's why they got him for so cheap.
I would say this, man, from a Dallas perspective, they're going to sign Micah Parsons. One thing about Jerry Jones, and I'm not saying I would like, if I had a favorite, team number one, I wouldn't want him being my owner. But what he does, he personalizes it. I was listening coming back from Chicago this past week, and I guess he likes to work and negotiate with the player himself. He doesn't like the agents being, as much involved. And I get, and I got this from Garrett. Garrett was on NFL radio, and he was talking about how Jerry Jones negotiates and wants to work with the players in their signing piece, right? So he's going to sign Micah Parsons. He's going to make the big splash. He's going to be the highest paid defensive end or edge rusher, what you want to call it. I don't think there's anything to see there. I think, Jerry Jones, one thing about Jerry Jones is he pays his players. I can't think of one player that I can, off the top of my head, over the last 5 or 6 years that he didn't go in and take care of. Yeah. Right. And there's no reason to believe, if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, this will be any different. I think they're going to sign him. He's going to be the highest paid defensive end. He's going to break the bank, and he's going to play well for the next 10 years.
I think Michael will get paid.
Yeah. He definitely pays his players. That's never going to be a discussion or an argument. But at some point, you need to pay him in a timely fashion.
I agree. You got to wait till the last minute.
And it draws out. And maybe it doesn't bother the person that he's going to pay, but it affects the team.
Yes.
You can only see this so much. You can only see so many people not in camp, stuff like that. The end result is the end result. And it's typically good as far as the contract-wise and payment. But can you expedite the procedure so we can get to football?
Yeah. Right. Well, the good thing about Micah, and this is why I say it, he's in camp. He's saying all the right things. And I think there's, they all call it, the golden handshake, right? Hey, I got you, right? And I think that's the part, because his history says that. Now, you compare that with Trey Hendrickson. Cincinnati has a history of being cheap. And that's why Hendrickson's going on his media circuit saying, I don't know if I'm going to come back. And he posted on X that he was on vacation somewhere when training camp opened. Trey Hendrickson, he posted, it's great here or somewhere. And I think he was on the beach somewhere.
Yeah.
Now think about that. You're talking about two of the most prominent edge rushers, guys that get to the quarterback. One is in camp saying, I'm good. I'm going to be taking care of the other one. Is on vacation saying, I don't even know if I'm going to play with this team. That goes to show you, Jerry Jones gets knocked a lot. But I'm going to tell you, man, hey, he's got long arms. he doesn't have alligator arms like the Cincinnati Bengals and other teams. He's got long arms, and it gets down deep in his pockets. So I just think that, yes, there's a lot of, information to be out there about the Cowboys, but here's why also. It's the Cowboys, man.
Yeah.
Do you realize they're gonna have 9, I want to say 9 games on national TV this year?
Yeah,
for a 500 team.
Like they do every year. Yeah.
But that's my point, right?
Yeah.
But the fans can't take credit for that. You all are a part of that because buying the merchandise and all that. But but that's the point. Dallas is going to be middle of the pack, for the most part. But the eyes are on them, man. You can't deny that.
Yeah, and I think, and I've said it for the last couple of years, I think that's all that Jerry cares about. If there's a decent team on the field, I don't think he cares to win anymore. I really think he does. I don't think there's a care for him to win. That's just kind of how I feel overall. Because if he wanted to win, Dak wouldn't be here, and I get it. He pays his players. I really disagree with Dak being here, right? I've never been really high on Dak, right? I thought we turned a corner when he beat Tampa Bay. I'm like, when he beat Tampa in the wild card, I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, granted, Brady was very washed. That Buccaneers team was very watered down, and everything else, but I'm like, okay, here we go. Maybe we got something figured out here. And when we went into that 49ers game, we played like the better team for, I want to say, the first 3 quarters. And then the Niners went in, they did what they did. I mean, and Dak did not play well. There was 3 drives in the 3rd or 4th quarter where he could have put that game into winning territory. The game would have been over, and they couldn't convert on those drives. So I know this story. I know the doom and gloom I'll face come January. We may not even be in the playoffs, but I think for Dallas, I mean, it's inexcusable if you miss the playoffs this year. Now last year, I think it made too much sense. They didn't have a team. This team was not capable of going to the playoffs whatsoever. But you've got a way younger running back room. You've got a receiver next to Lamb that defenses have to be aware of. Dak, for as much as he sucks as a playoff quarterback, he is a pretty good regular season quarterback. I still think he is a top 10 quarterback, beyond what anybody would say.
The league currently?
In the league currently, I would say he's still top 10. If not, he's probably 11th. Like, I don't think he's far outside. Like, he ain't nowhere near 13th or 14th. I think he is solidly 10th, 9th, maybe 11th.
Maybe we got to do our quarterback rankings as well too, because I think I may have a little bit of a disagreement there. But again, we'll be okay. I think we can. We'll have some time. The football season is a great long season, and I anticipate having more calls than just on Sundays as well, because there's a lot to be had with football, NFL, and college. So we got a lot to cover over these next 12 weeks or so.
And my wild card is Atlanta. I think Atlanta will win the division. I think Atlanta is going to be really good this year. I think Penix is going to ball. I think Bijan's going to be the leading. Other than Saquon, I think he could be the league's leading rusher. I think the Falcons could be very good. They've got the weapons. They've got the defense. They've got the offense. It's like there's all these pieces in Atlanta. It's like, can they put it together this year with Penix? I truly think, I've got them ranked really high. So it's like, I really hope Atlanta can do what I want them to do this season. I don't know how you guys feel about Atlanta, but
you'll find out. You'll find out real soon.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna see the segment. We are past that 40-minute mark. I do want to get your final thoughts in. That was my last thing. I just wanted to say I think Atlanta is my dark horse this year. I think they win the division and get to the playoffs. Any final thoughts for you guys before we head into our rankings?
No, for me, I still disagree that the AFC is head and shoulders above the NFC. I think it's going to be some good football being played in the NFC. I think we'll see sooner rather than later.
Ramon?
Justin Herbert's overrated.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. No Cowboy slander. We're good. We got out of it alive. We didn't talk about the Colts. We'll talk about the Colts when we rank them because they're going to come up pretty quickly in my list. So we can talk about the Colts then. When we come back, we are going to rank the NFL teams 32-1. The first segment will be 32-16. The second part will be 15-1. I'm excited, fellas. Let's see what happens when we come back. NFL Power Rankings coming up right here on the Game Time Podcast.